Oh, communications go wrong. It's difficult to communicate. People don't understand you. Things, computers break. Your car doesn't work. Like it just jams everything.
Hello, everyone. In case we haven't met, my name is Dr. Harmony, and I will help you live fearless, live loved, and live free. Today, I have Tatiana with us for the September astrology report. So I am super excited to hear and see what is ahead of us. We've had a lot of intense energy. There's been a lot of deep diving going on, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm just ready to shine, rise, and kind of explode with all of my blossoming and all my color and all my fragrance. I'm ready to go out and live life full out. So welcome, Tatiana.
Hello, Harmony. Thank you so much for having me again. And hello, everyone. Well, let's dive in this. If you survived August, we're all good. If you're still alive and well and kicking, this is only another cycle. Let's remember that these are cycles and they repeat. And the earth has been going on for eons. So we are definitely in the middle of that squeeze, 2020, 2021, 2022. This is the major squeeze we've been going through, I think. And August clearly was a pivotal month where you probably had felt the intensity of everything, the squeezes, changes, sudden thing, difficulties, things breaking, breakups, shifts, job changes, anxiety producing things, and all of this emotional stuff. And this part of the cycle was necessary so we can explode and shine and move with the awakening energies that are bigger and stronger. Like by the day, there's so much intensity in the shifting towards this new paradigm. And September is an interesting month because it does have a few components that could make it challenging, and at the same time things that bring us more into creating, being more of the creators we're supposed to be and co-creating reality rather than necessarily following what's dictated, something along those lines. So the first things that are going to start getting a little bit, let's say, tense is this aspect that has been going on since 2020, 2021. It's this, as the technical term, it's Uranus versus Saturn. We have discussed this. If you don't know much astrology, just go along with the ride. Uranus wants us to awaken to more freedom, to be independent, to be who we truly are, connected to our soul's missions, and feel free. Uranus is the awakener. Uranus gives you independence. It pushes us into the future. It's the planet of the future. And it just wants to release. It's like, I just want to be free. It's freedom at its best. And it's also the new things and changes. Uranus, it's all about changing and being okay, because the river is never the same. We're always changing. And when we embrace change, we embrace always the future, which is basically the now changing. It's a very present energy. Am I here now with the ever-present changes? That's Uranus. And it's awesome. But when it gets challenged with Saturn, like this, Saturn doesn't want to change. It's like a little bit of the structure. No, you gotta do this responsibly. It's like the parent that says the child's going out like, oh, I want to play and go up on that tree. And the parent is like, no, don't go up that tree. You can fall, And the child is like, but I want to, So this is the energy that we've been feeling for already a couple years, going in and out. Governments, bosses, parents, people in your life, however that feels like, it's just raining on your parade and you're ready to shine and expand. So that creates conflict within, let's say, society at large. because there is a big chunk of society that's trying to move already into the new paradigm where we are more self-sustaining, where we can build our lives mostly based on being more autonomous, having connections to people around us, building networks that give us more freedom. Freedom to what? Freedom to be who we are and express our gifts, versus a reality where we have been dictated what's best, what we need to do. Governments say what you should do, what you shouldn't be doing. We experienced that with lockdowns, with mandates, with like. So this is the first big portion that this month into October, and this is the last time after December, we would have crossed over this. The issue with this tension between feeling that we can't be who we are because we still need to be adhering to societal structures, the norms, whatever my boss says, government says, people say, all of that, like, heaviness. There is a reason for this. And it's that if we have been very consciously creating the new way of self-governing, govern yourself. Know who you are so you can be that in the world without the fear. Basically, if you don't put the limitations on your being, like what are my boundaries with the world, then someone will always put it for you. And this is that the reason we've been feeling these tensions is so you can say, well, if I don't want somebody telling me how to be and what to do, then I have to step up and be responsible with my own integrity and alignment. So this is why we might see, once again, lockdowns or mandates or who knows, right? We might see things again in the world where something's trying to squeeze you and you're trying to push back. In order to stay at peace with this is to know that if you stay in true alignment with your being, with your soul's calling, if you really are true to yourself and not try to just go with whatever because you have to, then the guidance that we receive it's so massive. It requires a lot of trust. The trust in your own being. Being grounded is extremely important at these times, because now we're gonna go into the second theme, and then I'll ask Harmony what she feels about this. The second theme, and this is why grounding is so important, is that we're going to have, especially at the beginning of the month, so many ideas. Mars is in Gemini, like going wonkers, maybe having lots of ideas, wanting to do a ton of projects, lots of different things. Maybe opportunities open up. The mind might be racing a million miles an hour with, what can I do? I could do this, I could do that. I started this, but then I'm curious about that. And maybe I could study this, or I don't know, or it's like all over the place. So the energy of air is very present. Air is, the mind is where ideas flow. Earth is also present, very present, because Virgo, and we'll talk about Virgo in a little bit, Virgo is going to be very present. And the energy of air, we have Libra and Gemini, very active. So it's a little bit things all over the place. The good news is that if we manage to stay focused and grounded, then all these ideas that are everywhere and all the mess and chaos that we could be experiencing can find an order. And that's where Virgo comes in, the energy of Virgo. It's very beautiful. And I'd like to share actually a little bit about the energy, because this is going to be coupled with this month's flavor, So let me see if I can share. So as you can see in this image, this is the image of Virgo, and we have the sun in Virgo right now, and also Venus in Virgo. And what this means is that it's the energy of perfecting things. You can see in this, there's this colors up there that are kind of in a chaos, and then they go through this beautiful maiden's body, and then she puts them out organized in very logical structures that go up in a certain logical way to perfect and purify. So Virgo is the purifying function of the whole zodiac. Not only purifying, but it's the organizational principle. That's how we organize chaos and mess. You know, Virgo people in general are really good at being organized and well, it depends, but not everybody. Depends on your particular chart. And for that, if you'd like more info about your personal chart, then you can always look at the offerings through the page, Dr. Harmony's page. The Virgo energy brings this kind of like, okay, I gotta clean my closet and organize my stuff, because otherwise, if there's too much stuff, then chaos, we cannot function so much in chaos. So the Virgo energy helps to put the chaos together. Also, you can see in this image, she's holding this basket, well, she has a basket. This represents the harvest. Is the harvest. It's like when we put in, roll up the sleeves, put in the work, get things done in reality. This is the roll up your sleeves and clean your house. If you just think of cleaning your house, it's not going to clean itself. That's what Virgo brings. It brings this capacity to go, okay, we clean. It's also the resolution with our bodies and our health. How can I be more healthy? So this is a great time. Whenever Virgo season happens, there's this like, okay, this is the time to start maybe eating more healthy. What habits have we not included in our lives that we're ready to take on and make it a routine? Because Virgo is also about these routines, the routines we have so we can be healthy, so we can be well, so things can function. Virgo creates systems. And because when systems are well put together, then everything flows. So it's interesting how you need systems for the flow of energy to flow correctly. So this is the Virgo function. So back to our lots of probably mental stimulation this month, lots of ideas, maybe new opportunities for a lot of you, especially if you're a Gemini. You might have like, woo, woo, woo. 10 projects on the go, or at least many ideas. And then in order to ground them, we need to be structured and we need to put order to our life. So this is an invitation and not an invitation. It's supported by the energy this month. So Mercury is going to be retrograding this month. And again, it's 3 weeks of, when Mercury retrogrades, the typical thing is like, oh, communications go wrong. It's difficult to communicate. People don't understand you. Like things, computers break. Your car doesn't work. Like it just jams everything. That's like the typical Mercury retrograde. However, let's remember that the reason why the energy goes like that is so that we can re-evaluate and rethink. In this capacity, Mercury is retrograding in Libra and Virgo. Libra is all about balance, harmony, and relationships as well, because this is how I am in existence with another. And how can that be balanced? So Mercury retrograding in Libra will bring about also the energy of relationships. You might have maybe relationships issues that come back to be reviewed, agreements. This is a time where we might need to review agreements of any kind. Maybe you had an agreement with somebody and this is the time to review it, to sign, like if you had signed contracts and things, well, this is not the time to sign contracts again. It's the time to, okay, let's rework the contract. Let's take out this clause, put this one in. How are we feeling about this? It's an energy of negotiation.
So I have to stop you for 1 second, Tatiana, because, before we came in to do this recording, we had discussed pulling a card for the theme of this month. And I pulled, while we were tuning into the energy, honor your agreement. And it says your mission is in motion. And what I want to say about that is because we came here for a purpose and a mission, of course, and it's deep within us. And everyone is on a mission to align with their purpose right now. that anybody that's doing very much spiritual work and stepping into their authenticity is literally coming into the wholeness of like, what is my purpose? And what they are looking at that as is something is being outside of them. And how do I find it? When it finds you, when you find you, and you come into the agreement that you made to live it out, okay? You living embodiment of the mission. And that's what you agreed to. And if until you come in, and that's why these lockdowns, so everything you described up to this point feels like sort of like I've said these words because I've already been going through this, a forced surrender. And what that feels like from an internal state, the inner governor is about surrendering to the inner self and the inner governing between our judgment that we've placed on ourselves for what we believe to be right or wrong, or what we have done that we are not accepted within ourselves, that we are judging those aspects of ourselves. And so I think the key that I'm saying with this is the mission is emotion, that everyone's trying to achieve something, arrive to something as if it's outside of them, but it is inside. And all this energy is putting you inside for you to discover this within yourself. Because at the end of the day, what we're doing collectively, and I'm experiencing this big time, and so is Julian, and so are we together, is this role reversal within ourself for our own inner union of masculine and feminine energies, so that we can navigate things in the new earth, in the new way, for us doing it our new way, and also finding the balance in that, but also accepting that balance is sometimes out of balance.
Yes, absolutely. And what you said about that this is a time to honor the agreement of your own soul's mission is really important, because I don't know if you felt it, but throughout also August, while Venus was also in Leo, there's this desire to find who we are, what we love, what we're passionate about. And divine source energy gave us this from birth. We had the seed. And sometimes because we have so many patterns from society, and again, that I'll say, well, Saturn, right? You need to do this, it needs to be this way. Then that seed sometimes gets stumped, like, don't do that, don't do that. It's the kid that doesn't get to go up the tree and just explore and be him or herself, right? So this is the time where we are like, well, honoring our own agreements to ourselves is so important, to our own mission. And then the agreements that we have with others, and how this is done is with clear communication, clarity. So when Mercury is retrograding, it gives us the ability to, okay, let's rewrite this letter. Let's review the agreement. And when I'm ready, I'm going to go and speak it up and say, well, this is how I feel, what I am. Can we work with this? Because Mercury is in Libra. So it's a good, it's a good mental energy to be also listening to others. It's not just only about me. It's okay, it's me and the other, but also with assertive communication. So these first 2 weeks of the month, have that energy where if you rewrite your letters to yourself and the things you need to say, don't blurt it out necessarily, but then be assertive. Go back within. Go to what you need as a soul. And I'm not saying need as a person in their ego needs, but like, what is your soul's quest? What's that energy that when you connect to something that you love, just makes you feel so fulfilled? Sometimes it's in a certain activity, also with certain people, and then feel that pull, because that's the guiding system that tells you yes, 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 no, 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 no. And when we hear the yes, 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 then we're following our true self, and then we can be more assertive with what we need, and we can express it calmly and gently. So there's very supportive very supportive aspects for assertive communication. Say what you need to say clearly and lovingly. well, I understand that you are needing these things or you are like this. How can we come together to a midpoint? And that's why negotiations are wonderful. And this time is good for negotiations of any kind. And the other wonderful thing about this first 2 weeks is that this could also, there could be such freedom of expression, and then a feeling of autonomy and independence, creative self-expression. The sun in Virgo is going to be making a beautiful aspect to that Uranus that wants to be more free. And because this is earth energy, we're talking about our resources. Maybe there's big changes in our resources that give us more freedom, like maybe we changed a job and now the way we make our money is different. And that gives us more freedom to, I don't know, do other things. Or maybe we moved into meaningful money that Harmy always talks about.
I just
And
did some
that's what we
recordings
want. If
on
you,
that.
yeah.
I in my Lightworker Academy, I did the making meaningful money section. That was a whole entire module, and it came out so powerful. So I'd just like to say while we're here that if anybody has been working on trying to get into their mission and they have been stuck, blocked, don't know where to start, don't even know what it is, and you're ready for some real radical change, that's why I created that Lightworker Academy, to be able to help people through some coaching, live coaching with me. And I actually have a live session with the group after this recording. And it also includes community, where we come together and collaborate through this process. And it's becoming such a beautiful thing. And it's something that I've been preparing for to help others at another level myself. And so me going to my new level is about me coming out in this way, but also in a way that's so foreign. It's navigating it in a new way. But I know at the end of the day, I'm being called up and out in a new way. And what you said about like that freedom of expression and all of those things and the communication, like I feel like most of towards the end of August and most of August, I've kind of worked up to that. I can feel that sense of that literally coming into play here at the beginning of September. But I think what I would add to that for people to really pay attention to about following their true north is it something that, which side of you is it coming from? Who within you is it coming from? Because it could be the side of you that is technically still suppressed and is trying to stay comfortable, that's setting you up to follow old patterns and old pathways that you're resisting and accepting the change that's required to make that shift. And I've seen some of those layers within myself of that on some level, and the process, because of how deep it is, than my own change of some things, but also to people are really confused. And when it comes to communication, we've kind of learned to set some boundaries. We've learned to speak our truth. And now that we've grasped a hold of that, it's kind of like, okay, well, where's this coming from now? Am I accepting, like, it's almost like, is my inner voice coming from my masculine or feminine, and who gets to lead? Because I've had this inner battle between the two of those, and who is the one that's going to win here between what their needs are. And it's been very deep and intense in that. But I actually, just before this recording, got to the heart of now the resolution for that exact thing within myself.
Wow. And I think that will be awesome to share with all our viewers, because as much as the first part of the month could feel that there's this, again, we want to be who we are. We want to connect to our purpose and truth. We want to be able to be more self-sustaining, doing something that is really meaningful to us, that gives us more freedom in general. And then the second half of the month can get a little bit strained in the energy of the sky, because there is a difficult or a tense aspect between Mars and Venus, which is exactly what you just said about how do we be assertive and in this energy, but at the same time conciliating, having this balance. And when there's a tense aspect, it's almost like we don't know how to do it. It's like I love you, but I'm angry and I'm mad at you, but I love you. It's this like, yeah, I love you, you know? that's why I hate you. You know, it's like, no. Or it's like there's conflict, and then I just like, it's like I like conflict. I just want to pick up a fight. Is that energy of like, well, because it's fun, let's pick up a fight. It's like, why? Is the debate energy, you know? I just want to debate for the sake of debating, you know? And it can be, and that's when the energies are not fully in a cohesive flow. And when this happens in the sky, and if it triggers a point specifically for you in your chart, then you might be feeling that then suddenly in your relationships, you're having these like, why can't I agree? And sometimes it's because the agreement is out of balance, of course, within ourselves. So this is a call. It is a call to look at that. Why am I still like wanting to pick a fight about what? Like, you know, or why am I still wanting to be in conflict and be confrontational? Like, what is there to be looked at? What patterns, what things are still dictating that, so that we can resolve it? And the resolution usually is like, tan tan tan. What did you find for resolution for that balance?
For me, are you asking
Ah,
me the question?
because you said you found a way to kind of resolve it. So
So, well, I will say I haven't done it alone. I've had multiple teachers, I've had multiple coaching sessions, I've had intentional effort put into wanting to come to the inner balance of myself and make the shift. And I've showed up in a way that, I've been doing a 33-day live little mini session for 33 aspects of ourselves that are lives on all the platforms for 33 days. Today would be like day 22 of this recording. And so by the time this comes out, I'll be finishing that up, which I feel guided to share some of the things I've learned through this, like exactly what you said. So I'll go much deeper into that because it's very deep, even just to do one or even a series of videos on. I'm writing a whole book on it, actually. That's the new book that I have that's going to be coming out. But at the end of the day, if I really summed that up, to know that these astrological events are, like, as we always say, we are the universe, right? So everything that's happened universally, there's a lot of layers in between the universe into ourselves. But the key is the universe represents us. So whatever's going around us represents us. So part of that is really coming into this radical acceptance of yourself, because anything around you that's happening is the mirror, and we know that, but it's picking up speed to not just know things anymore, but to embody these things. So now through the embodiment, what it's really requiring is that we really purge our physical state to create space for energy flow within our body, our being, our breath, our brain, to come into that balance so that we can harmonize within ourselves to create the stability going forward on every level: mind, body, spirit, heart, soul, energy. And we're re-templating how we navigate it. So for, like, I guess for me personally, like, to kind of like really, really get to the heart of your question, is I need to tune into that for a second so I can give a really clear answer, just because it's so deep. Okay, so I'm getting this sense that what we talked about in the soul's memory, the soul's mission, the soul's assignment, the soul's mission is to awaken to the greatest potential we could possibly have. And so what I feel like is, on this journey, I'm coming to these circles, through these circles, a full circle. And we've been doing it over and over and over again, like you said at the beginning. But these are some huge circles that feel like for my entire life, in this particular life, but also for my soul's evolution. So it feels like it's beyond what's happening out there. It's like in here. And so because of that, I can clearly see, like, you don't unsee once you see something. So I can clearly see what my role is in the whole. And because I can clearly see what my role is in the whole, then I'm just taking intentional action to clean up and take responsibility for my role, really. And then showing up at a place of trying to still stay in a place of accepting, loving, balancing, and honoring. When this says honor on that card, honor your mission, like to me, that's like honor my masculine and honor my feminine. And how can they feel loved, heard, supported, protected, safe, and go inside and see what I've done really deep. I mean, all I can tell you is I got to the inside of me and feel like who is who. Like I even told Julian yesterday, like I feel bipolar between my masculine and feminine because I don't know who needs the floor. Like it's that close. And so there was some very specific things, and I had a session yesterday, a breakthrough session with a coach, and some other things I'm doing coaching with people, and then things me and Julian are doing together through that process, and every little dot clicked to I went on a walk this morning. I solved some missing pieces and I came back and shared that with Julian. And then he was the mirrored reflection back to me of everything that was in me. And it just clicked into place. That's all I can really say. And I haven't had time to fully process it because then it was like time to come here, you know, and then I got a full day. So, but I will tell you, I took like 3 pages of notes, like
Yeah, and this, what you just said, ties into, like, again, this energy of action and taking responsibility, is because we cannot just expect it to happen. We have that responsibility to ourselves to go and do the things that are needed. And that's why the Virgo energy is also very helpful, because it's not like somebody's going to do it for us. As we are the only ones who can take on our own healing journey, our own rebalancing, and our own discipline with our practices. You know, I'm like going back to my practices now again, and I felt that when I was off and I was not doing my daily practices because I was moving, and it's been crazy for me. It's immense changes, and even I, knowing all that I know and all the tools I know, would be swept out and put in the there's like this massive tornado, and I usually am able to be in the middle. Well, guess what? Even knowing all my spiritual tools, boom, right out in the edges. And to the point that I went really deep down again to Hell Central, and to see those pain points. And I'm like, okay, then I need to take responsibility. Why are those pain points being shown again? And then that comes back. And then I went back into, again, doing my practices and taking the time. And that's my personal experience. And guess what? None of us is like, oh, and then we're just walking on clouds. That's not true. The whole purpose about healing the planet and moving into these high vibrations is also acknowledging that all is, everything exists, from the lowest vibrations to the highest vibrations, and we are the ones who navigate it, choose it, and take responsibility for where we stand. And there's that's it, you know. And this ties into like that last week, like that's the last part of the month could be a very awakening, enlightening, and breakthrough part if you don't just stay in the little, I'm going to be in my little fight mode, or my little disagreement and inharmonious relationship, or the mirror. If I just stay in the mirror and do nothing about it, nothing happens. It's okay. The divine doesn't
and I think
never
beyond
would
that,
never rush anything, right? I mean,
I think we're in a place that if we see it and we're not taking action or responsibility for it, then that's making us have internal conflict to the point where it can literally create more trauma within than you really even need.
absolutely. And the what supported the last part of the month is, you know, slow and steady choices. And there's going to be enough energy not to just go crazy at it and have a lot of anger, but there's going to be more like, okay, I have something. If we align correctly, and then we can look at our goals, and you know, it's a kind of slow and steady action, instead of scattering the energy with this Gemini function of being everywhere. Like, choose the 2 or 3 things that you know you can commit to, and go forth, because we're creating this new version of ourselves constantly, not just now, constantly. And the other thing that's very supported is the deep transformations in relationship. There's going to be an aspect of Venus to Pluto where we can see the actual power dynamics at play and we see them clearly, but they're not just like nasty in our face where we have to go through re-traumatization, but more like, oh, I see that these dynamics are at play. Oh, I see I'm jealous or controlling. Or I see that, and then when you see it, it's easier to shift it because you can just acknowledge it as part of yourself, part of everybody without judging. It's you. It's like, no, it's us. It's the field. Is existence itself has the shadow. But now we can clearly acknowledge it and own it at the moment when it happens. So if you came out of your center and went into spinning mode, yes, it can feel like you can be out of control. But what happens here is that when you see, oh, I'm still getting caught in this, okay, what can I do about it? And then there's the new conscious decision to make those adjustments, in particular with relationships. Otherwise, also something that could happen, and by the end of the month, there's also an aspect of Venus to Neptune, is that we can get a little bit caught into some kind of fantasy. Maybe we see somebody not for who they are, and then we get caught in like an illusion or a romanticized version of reality and people. And the reality is we have struggles. We all feel the same way at different times in our lives. We all have loss. We all have joy. We all have love. Like, we are all human. And this is coming into our humanity and not trying to, of course, we are divine. But, and here's the thing, this month, because it's a very grounded month in a certain sense, it's grounded through the energy of Virgo and scattered through the energy of the mind. It's like an interplay where we can come more into, I am a human here on planet Earth. These are the things that need to be done in order to bring the divine essence into the planet. And in order to bring the divine essence, we need to look at the shadow, acknowledge it, not shove it away, give it its place, and let it be, let it exist, move on, embrace change, because right now the energies of change are also very, very present. And even maybe you want to change something about yourself, maybe the relationships are going to be different as well. Venus is going to be making a trine to Uranus, and this is when usually people that are very different come into our lives. Or maybe you decide to try a different way of relating that is non-conventional. And the whole twin flame aspect of what we all speak here is when we come into that inner masculine feminine balance, then any relationship we have with everything and everyone can bring us enormous joy and liberation. And we know that the template that will eventually be in the planet is this like love that is shared amongst the whole. And it's not necessarily you are mine, this is mine. How is that going to look in the future? I don't know, but it's more this like free love. And I don't mean free love in promiscuity love. I don't mean that. I mean, I love you, I acknowledge you, I see this in you. It's when we sit in circle and we can love each other in circle, and there's no hierarchy.
That's also coming into love and acceptance of the parts you've separated from.
Exactly. And so these are all these energies at play this month. They are mostly supportive. Yes, there's going to be that part of the month, which is we might feel the disharmony and like it's just not working out. And we might feel like a little bit on edge and wanting to pick a fight and stuff. So in those moments, that's where we use all our tools, all that we've learned. And if you're watching this, you know that you have been learning a lot, and that also you are also connected to your own inner guidance, and you're probably also a guide to many others, like we all are, because we are all guides to something or someone.
Yes. And if you are still watching this, make sure to leave us a comment, because this is some really deep stuff. And if you're watching thus far, that says a lot about the depths of the work you're doing, the responsibility you're taking within it, and the acknowledgement. So I would like to know who has made it this far, because that shows us and gives you an opportunity to be felt and heard in the depths of this new beginning and coming into the harmonization. I will also say, if you made it this far and you're doing the same work, you are doing the same work. And that also says a lot about how much, not just responsibility you're taking, but how much that represents your inner balance, that you're on the pivotal point to the new. So if you've made it this far, know that you're on the trajectory of the shift to that freedom that Tatiana is talking about. And I know that for a fact. I can feel it in every fiber of my being. And because I feel it that strong, I want to know who it is that's here with us still. So Tatiana, thank you so much. And
Yeah, so that
yes. And if you've not already done so, make sure if you're interested in an evolutionary astrology reading, Tatiana is amazing. You can check out her links and all the ways to glow forward with her and the links below. I'll also go ahead and make sure you have a link to my Lightworker Academy, because it is off to an amazing start. It's only going to continue to grow and evolve. And I would love to see anyone there that is interested in taking their mission and purpose to the next level, or even just tapping into it. So thank everyone, and we will see you next month. And may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.